comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon.
And if you want to just go right into reading your first one, because that one's really short, then I can start with this one after you read the intro, if you want to do that.
Okay, so I'll do that one first.
Okay.
What is your name?
Gay.
Okay.
The time is 10 a.m.
Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Sandy, and I'm here with Gay. We invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore the content from Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa Audio Reader Network mobile app and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a prepaid programmed radio. In the news, Springfield police investigate early Monday morning homicide. One person has died after early morning altercation with Southeast Springfield on Monday, March 30th. Springfield Police Department responded to a reported domestic assault at 3:52 a.m. in the 2000 block of South Ingram Mill Road and found 2 people with significant injuries and a third person with minor injuries, according to the SPD spokesperson Chris Swatters. Swatters confirmed that one of the significantly injured people was stabbed while the other was shot. While both were transported to the hospital, one person has died from the stabbing while the other remains in serious but stable condition. This is believed to be an isolated incident and the 2 people involved knew each other, and the SPD is not looking for any other suspects, Swatter said. The homicide investigation is ongoing.
Springfield CU customers can expect to pay more on summer utility bills. As temperatures in the Ozarks begin to rise, Springfield City Utilities is letting customers know that their utility bills are expected to increase this year. CU, in a news release, stated that customers can expect to pay roughly $14 more per month on their electricity bill than they did last year. The reason for this is twofold. For one, fuel costs for generating and purchasing electricity are higher, but also a new rate increase will be taking effect on April 1st. As part of the increase for the next 6 months stems from the winter storm Fern in January, when Springfield saw nearly 7 inches of snow and wind chills that fell far below 0 degrees. According to the release, CU estimates the cost of fuel to generate and purchase electricity for the next 6 months and will be for twice a year. That amount is then billed to customers and later adjusted every 6 months and reflected in actual costs. When the winter storm moved through the area, CU experienced higher than expected cost, resulting in roughly $8 million shortfall. To make up the shortfall, the average residential bill will see an additional $9.45 per month for the next 6 months. Starting in April, the electrical rate increase approved in 2023 will be fully in effect after being phased in gradually over the past 3 years. The 3.9% increase going into effect on April 1st represents an estimated $4.79 per month increase for a typical residential customer using 900 kilowatt per month. The rate increase was approved as a way to address higher costs of operating and maintaining due to inflation, according to previous News-Leader reports. While we recognize the increases are never welcome, allowing infrastructure to age beyond its useful life or fail ultimately costs far more in terms of both reliability and affordability for our community, said CU President Dwayne Falk in a release. This year, CU has experienced its investment in electricity system reliability too. Nearly $10 million has been earmarked for tree trimming and pole replacement efforts, according to another CU news release. While the utility spent roughly $4 million burying electrical lines as part of other municipal projects in 2025, CU officials told the News-Leader previously doing so citywide would be too complex and costly and would come with its own set of challenges. Even with the increased bills, CU notes its rates still fall below the national and state averages. Even regionally, CU customers on average see lower electricity bills compared to other providers in the Ozarks. CU expects natural gas to remain steady for the next 6 months, keeping bill balances roughly the same. But electric bills are likely to increase the next couple of years too, although the rate increase approved in 2023 will be in full effect. Another rate increase will be phased in over the next 2 years. Last year, Springfield City Council approved a 3% electrical rate increase for 2027 and another 3.6% increase for April of 2028. These would result in an average monthly increase of $8.75 in residential bills by the time the full rate increase is in effect. This latest adjustment will pay for more than $283 million in lease financing for infrastructure update, including gas combustion turbines and battery storage facilities. These will expand the energy capacity to comply with regulatory requirement changes. Springfieldians' wallets are feeling the pinch as everyday expenses, not just utilities, are becoming more expensive. But there are ways to reduce energy use this year to prevent the electricity bill from ballooning further. Here are some ways to do that. Close drapes and shades during the day to keep out the heat from the sun, especially on the south and west sides of your home. Place a draft stopper at an exterior door, add weather stripping inside door frames, or attach a door seal to keep cold or hot air inside your residence. Replace heat-producing incandescent light bulbs with LED bulbs. Turn ceiling fans counterclockwise to push cool air down. Most ceiling fans have a switch on the motor housing that will allow you to change the fan's direction based on what you would like. Use a smart thermostat to adjust the setting at night and when no one is home. CU also offers a peak reward program where customers who enroll can receive rewards in exchange for CU slightly adjusting the thermostat when demand for electricity is high. Change or clean the air filters at least twice from March to October to ensure the air conditioning is running efficiently. On the outside limit, make sure that there are no leaves, dust, grass clippings, or other debris in your fins and coils on your outside unit. Try cooking more with smaller appliances like microwaves, crock pots, or an air fryer. Ovens release heat that make it harder to keep your home cool.
A scoundrel returns. Will Wade's LSU comeback makes perfect sense opinion. Key points. LSU is a kingdom of rebels and renegades. Of course, it's rehired. Will Wade joins Lane Giffen and Kim Mahalki at LSU. My first question is, Will Wade bringing the boombox with him to LSU? My second question, does LSU possess no scruples at all? Never mind, I know the answer to that question. LSU is a kingdom of rebels and renegades. Just win, baby. Wade, Lane Kiffin, and Kim Mahalki walk into, well, I can't quite figure the punchline of that joke, but wherever they were walking to, they're probably going to win. And if you try to stand in their way, they'll just steal your players. Vanderbilt pinned to cast a trio of characters quite like these three. There's Wade, a disgraced cheater turned boombox blasting Cinderella, turned prodigal son returning to save LSU. There's Giffen, the money mercy, what the word for him. Even, well, we'll go with the college football shameless and slippery renegade in chief. Considering the company she keeps, Mahoney qualifies as decorous statesman as of these three amigos, but her enemies despise her with the fire of thousand suns. If you find either the sum or the individual parts of this trio a bit odious, do you really think LSU cares? Not as long as they're winning. NC State Athletic Director Boo Corrigan, she has said he felt lied to after Wade bolted back to LSU after one season with the Wolfpack. Corrigan will get no sympathy here. Don't hire duplicitous renegades and expect them to behave as a straight shooter. Scofflaw returns to LSU and Will Wade vows to follow more rules. In bringing back Wade's this week, LSU became the first school I'm aware of to rehire the coach it's fired for cause just for years previously. Never mind that Wade trembled on NCAA rules for several years to the extent he got a pink slip, a show cause, and a suspension, and his conduct resulted in LSU getting a probation, scholarship reductions, and recruiting restrictions. That strong-ass offer. Wade once spoke of making the secure Javante Smart positioned Wade as a scofflaw within the exosystem that no longer exists. After arriving back to Louisiana, Wade told reporters he'll try to follow more rules this time. Rules? What rules? NCAA enforcement is a husk not to be feared, and the LSU president and athletic director who's fired Wade in 2022 are gone from the school. With the sheriff out to lunch, long live the rebel, and fill up the stands. Well, Will Wade suits LSU's tribe of rebels and renegades. A few years away, Wade gave some time for the stink to blow off of him. He even spawned an underdog tale of McNeese to set the tune of a boombox a year ago. Now it's LSU's basketball that stinks, and so Wade returns as a savior. The school hopes Wade will reinstall basketball relevance. Mike Mulkey delivered in women's basketball. If Wade gets LSU back to the Sweet 16 as he did in 2019, he'll be hailed as a hero on the Bayou. Will is a constant winner, a diligent program builder, and a charismatic leader with incredible ability to connect with his student athletics. LSU athletic director Virgie Osbury said in the news release announcing Wade's hiring, the announcement naturally made no mention of Wade's firing and the NCAA scandal, or the FBI war tap. In Louisiana, there is no such thing as being too tarnished for a comeback or too scandalized for a reveal. As fellow sports columnist who native to the state once said, they love scoundrels down there. Do they ever? Louisianans elected Edwin Edwards as governor 4 times, Edwards overcame a slew of scandals to make not one, but two political comebacks before untimely heading to the federal prison. In Louisiana, scoundrel can be governor, and once fired, cheater can be a savior. Scruples get stomped in the boot. Ethics and moralities that so polyandronish. Anyway, in this no holds barred at time and space college sports and company finds itself in. A lawless enterprise suits LSU. The current governor of Louisiana and Jeffrey Landry made it clear he wanted to reshape LSU when he tossed out athletic director Scott Woodward and who would rise up to replace Woodward. That'd be Osbury, whom LSU banned from attending football games in 2021, when he was also suspended for a month without pay after he mishandled allegations of domestic abuse and did not follow Title 1X reporting requirements. Remember, you never too tarnished for a comeback in Louisiana. So Osbury took the reins of LSU athletics in November and swiftly made his mark by plundering Kiffin from Revival, Mississippi. Now LSU would only love it if Wade could bring back the juice and transfers to Tigers basketball like Kiffin supplied for football. Landry's reconfiguration of LSU continued with the hiring of Wade Rosu as university president. Rosu previously was the president of McNeese and School that had rescued Wade from the scrap heap. And so the pieces quickly shaped into place for Wade to return to LSU. It's a chance to go home, Wade said. Home? Wade's from Nashville. He spent his coaching career like a traveling salesman, living out of a suitcase just before jetting off down the road to where business might be better. And yet it makes sense. Wade would also see LSU as home. In Louisiana, a scandal is but a speed bump, and a scoundrel who arrives in a time of need receives a hero's welcome.
Have you heard of the program Give 5 Springfield? Well, that's where experience meets impact. This story is from the Springfield Daily Citizen and starts off with a picture of the last graduating class of 17 individuals who are volunteering their time in Springfield, Missouri. Do you feel like something is missing from your life? In Springfield, more and more retired adults are discovering that answer might be simpler than expected: volunteerism. Think of it as a fast-acting way to improve neighborhoods, support local organizations, and strengthen your sense of purpose. While the results may sound lighthearted, they are real. Participants consistently report increased joy, deeper community connection, and a renewed sense of direction. That's exactly what Give 5 Springfield was created to do in 2017, and the Give 5 program has continued to accomplish for hundreds of retirees across dozens of classes and a variety of participating sites located in multiple states today. Give 5 is a free program for adults 60 or over that help participants connect with local nonprofits and discover how their time, talents, and life experiences can make a real difference. Through a series of engaging weekly sessions, participants tour organizations, meet community leaders, and connect with peers who are looking for something more. For many, what begins as curiosity quickly becomes something deeper. One graduate shared this: "Going through Give 5 not only educated me about resources I didn't even know existed, but being able to tour agencies and see firsthand what they do was the best way for me to find the right place to serve. I've been volunteering and finding it very rewarding. I would recommend this program to anyone with an interest in making their community a better place." And they're not alone. Across Missouri, Give 5 graduates volunteer an average of nearly 5 hours per week, more than twice the state average, creating stronger, more connected communities in the process. The next picture with the story shows a group of 5 volunteers working on a construction project. It looks like they're getting ready to build a shed. From supporting food banks and shelters to mentoring and literacy programs, Give 5 participants have stepped into roles that matter, but the impact isn't just external. Participants consistently report increased happiness, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of belonging. Because when you give your time, you often gain something even more valuable in return. Give 5 Springfield's next class begins on April 1st. That session is currently full, but they're planning their next session if you are interested. With limited seats available and a strong interest, this one is the final opportunity to participate in this program for this session. If you are interested, you can explore this by going to the Give 5 website, which is http://moregive5.com. So if you're interested, you might think about signing up for the volunteer Give 5 program.
Blessed are the peacemakers, not those who yearn for war. Opinion. Throughout history, political and military leaders have turned to sacred texts when speaking about war. Pete Hegseth and Benjamin Netanyahu quote passages from the story of King David, presenting him as the warrior king who calls upon Yahweh to defeat his enemies. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Psalms 144:1. Such verses are used to calm or claim divine sanction for warfare and the inevitable death and destruction that follow. But the story of David contains a turning point that shifts its meaning. The appearance of Bethesda brings David face to face with his own mortal failure. According to 2 Samuel, David sees Bethesda, the wife of Uriah, falls in love with her and arranges for the death of her husband. Yet Bethesda also becomes the catalyst that awakens David to the depth of his wrongdoing. His response in Psalms 51 is not a call for victory, but a cry for mercy. Create in me a clean heart, O come. A renew and right spirit with me. Awaken that someday might call woke. David turns from the path of conquest and death and begins a journey toward compassion. His transformation suggests a divine favor is not secured through destruction, but through the open hearts and dedication to peace. The shift is echoed in the teachings attributed to Jesus and Nazarene, who repeatedly emphasizes mercy over vengeance and reconciliation over violence. Blessed are the peacemakers, Jesus calls his followers, and to love even their enemies, reflecting the voice of the repentant David of Psalms 51, the David who understood the true and righteous lies, not in demolition, but in cooperation. In Christian theology shaped by Paul, Yahweh is exposed as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, a trinity that emphasizes a masculine hierarchy. By contrast, the message associated with the repentant David and Jesus, the Nazarene, reflects home and balances images of the divine Father, Mother, and Child. This trinity reflects the ancient symbolism embedded in the Hebrew words Ish and Aisha, man and woman, who union brings forth life. Symbiologically, linguistically, Aisha and Isha together create the possibility of shalom, peace, wholeness, and restored harmony. Even the name of Bethesda, which may be read as Bat-ish Abba, can be understood symbiologically as daughter of Isha and Aisha lineage. But when the power is defined by male alone, in shared letters of the words of Isha, or Ish mean fire. Fire consumes and destroys, just unchecked power leads to violence. The story of David, Bethesda, and her son Solomon speaks to the innate division of humanity, the insecure driven by fear and greed. Call upon Yahweh to bless their wars. Admirers of Jesus cling to his promise that the human heart can be transformed toward peace. The repentant David and Jesus point toward the same conclusion. When the strength of Aisha and Isha stand together, the compassion balances power, and the fire of conflict can be transformed into shalom and peace that restores the world. Pax Amo Lux.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen. Is the second time the charm? Springfield voters to reconsider hotel tax increase on April the 7th. For the second time in 5 months, Springfield voters on April 7th will consider a 3% hotel tax increase to help fund a proposed convention and event center via the expansion and renovation of the Springfield Expo Center at 635 East St. Louis Street. If approved, the measure would increase Springfield's hotel license tax from 5% to 8%, making the total lodging tax rate, including the base sales tax rate, but excluding any additional taxes in special taxing districts, 16.1%. Collections would begin on July 1, 2026. The tax increase would sunset after 35 years. The ballot measure titled Question 1 reads as follows. Shall the City of Springfield, Missouri impose an additional 3% license tax on the business of renting, leasing, or letting living quarters, sleeping accommodations, rooms, or a part thereof in connection with any hotel, motel, tourist court, or short-term rental derived from or paid by transient guests for sleeping accommodations for the purpose of attracting travel and tourism, including the construction, operation, and maintenance of a regional convention and event center, ? The additional 3% license tax shall automatically expire after a period of 35 years. As indicated in the ballot language, the tax would be incurred on overnight accommodations at hotels and short-term rentals such as Airbnb or VRBOs. Springfield voters narrowly rejected a similar measure in November 2025 in an election that had a 7.12% turnout. Unlike the hotel tax increase on the April 7th ballot, the previous tax measure proposed to make the 3% increase permanent. Revenues from the tax would help cover the debt service on a $175 million convention and event center as proposed by a market demand and feasibility study recently conducted by Hunden Partners, a Chicago-based consulting firm specializing in destination real estate and tourism. Following the November election, city leaders went back to the drawing board to determine if there was still a path forward for the proposed convention and event center. Equipped with community feedback from a survey and a series of listening sessions, the city put forward a similar tax measure accompanied by more details about the project and also pre-designed visuals created by a world-renowned architecture firm. Advocates say the proposed facility could be a game changer for Springfield by creating jobs, stimulating private investment, and delivering economic benefits across the city. Critics, however, say the tax money would be better spent elsewhere and question how the project will benefit everyday residents and if the investment will generate the benefits projected by Hundon Partners. The 205-page Hundon Partners report, which was presented to the Springfield City Council last summer, recommends a facility with 125,000 square feet in event space, including a 65,000 square foot exhibition hall, a 30,000 square foot ballroom, a 14,000 square foot junior ballroom, 16,000 square feet of meeting space, and an outdoor plaza. In total, the project could encompass some 250,000 square feet of gross floor area, including a lobby, concourse, service corridor, kitchen, storage, and other support spaces as indicated by the request for qualifications issued by the city last year for architectural services and a construction manager at risk. Since then, the city has contracted with the global architectural firm Populous, which is leading a design team that also features Springfield-based SAP design architects. Crossland Construction was selected as the CMAR. While the study does not identify a specific location the event center should be located, it refers to the vacant parcel between the Springfield Expo Center and Jordan Valley Car Park, which has previously been envisioned as a possible site for a new convention center as a potential development area, and firmly suggest that the economic impact of the facility would be greatest if it was located near downtown amenities. Leading up to the November election, city officials did not propose a specific location for the project, but suggested the entirety of the downtown was, quote, in play. However, the city has since identified the vacant parcel, as well as the Springfield Expo Center itself, as the project site. Both are currently owned by the city. As proposed, the facility would fit on two properties, demonstrated by an unveiling which was presented on March the 19th. The renderings depicted a multi-story addition to the Expo Center that would utilize a portion of the vacant lot while leaving part of it as an outdoor plaza. Tim Rosenberry, the city's Director of Quality and Placement and Place Initiatives, emphasized at the March 19th event that the renderings are not intended to be an exact representation of the final product, but rather to help the public visualize what the facility could look like. While the city plans to repurpose most of the Expo Center, the future of its western section remains to be determined. Originally a standalone building, this portion used to house a Sears store before it was incorporated into the Expo Center as a function space separate from the exhibition hall. However, low ceilings and columns make the space go largely unused and unmarketable, according to the city. The Sears building, on the other hand, is something we want to look at in more detail with respect to how much it's going to cost us and whether it's to improve the mothball or to replace I don't really know which we're going to do yet, Rosenberry said. In addition to the event center itself, the study calls for a 400-room connected hotel affiliated with a major hotel chain, estimated to cost $209 million, and an additional 600 motel rooms within walking distance. While the city maintains that the hotel would be privately funded and is actively seeking interest for the project, the study suggests the possibility of a public-private partnership for those facilities. In an interview with the Springfield Daily Citizen, Mayor Jeff Schrag emphasized that the city would not use general fund revenues to finance a hotel, but said the city has a variety of mechanisms at its disposal to assist a private developer, including tax increment financing and industrial development bonds. Chapter 100 of the Missouri Revised State Statutes authorize local governments to issue industrial development bonds to finance a wide variety of projects and equipment for private corporations and individuals, subject to approval by the local governing body. These bonds can be structured as tax exempt and therefore issued at a lower interest rate than conventional financing. Under Chapter 100, a private entity purchases the bond and repays them over a period of time, during which the local government would retain ownership of the project. Once the bonds are repaid, the government would transfer the project back to the company. Projects funded through Chapter 100 bonds may also be eligible for real and personal property tax abatement and sales tax exemptions. A quote from Schrag, "There are other tools that the city can do, but with the pledge, there is no general revenue funds." Schrag emphasized that the city will be looking out for citizens more so than it was able to in the 2000s, when plans to build an expanded convention center development next to the Expo Center fell flat after John Q. Hammond's Hotels and Resorts failed to secure financing for that project. We have the benefit of standing on the foundation that was built in the early 2000s, and had the foundation not been built, this would be a very different conversation, Schrag said. But because it was built at that time, we have the luxury of looking out more for the taxpayers in the city in the interest of keeping this maintained for the long term. Among other recommendations, the feasibility study also identifies the need for 900 to 1,200 connected parking spaces. With 977 parking spaces, the Jordan Valley Car Park would fit the bill. However, it is not owned by the city, but by Atrium Hospitality. Atrium also owns the University Plaza Hotel and Convention Center across the street from the project site, and manages the Expo Center through a long-standing contract with the city. While the city-owned Expo Center and adjacent parcel can accommodate the recommended facility, it remains unclear where the connected hotel and parking facilities would be located. City Manager David Cameron has previously acknowledged that the city has engaged in discussions with private property owners, though there has been no news on how those discussions have progressed. Rosenberry indicated at the March 19th design reveal event that the hotel could potentially fit on the project site, and that the Jordan Valley Car Park could provide parking for the proposed convention center. While Springfield is home to a number of convention centers and event venues suitable for smaller events, it lacks a facility with the capacity and versatility of a true convention center, according to Mark Heckwit, President and CEO of Visit Springfield, Missouri, Springfield's nonprofit tourism bureau. The feasibility study identifies 3 main function space types an exhibition ball, ballroom space, and meeting event space. None of Springfield's existing facilities feature all three. The Expo Center, for example, only has an exhibit hall and meeting space. For those who say we already have a convention center, I'd actually say I don't think that could be further from the truth in terms of what we have and what we don't have, he said. We have a very underperforming Expo Center, and we have a number of hotels that have good meeting space at the end. That said, Heckwith said the proposed facility will be more than a convention center, hence the inclusion of events in the ballot language. It's a gathering point for the community, and we've heard populists talk about how the building of the future will all be completely mixed use venues. One day there will be a convention, the next day there will be a sporting event, the next day there will be a resident type event, yoga, you name it. The space is designed to be fully utilized, and that's what we don't have right now. Combined, University Plaza, the Expo Center, boasts the most square footage of any event facility in Springfield, but are weighted down by another problem, including misalignment between the city and atrium hospitality, according to the feasibility study, which refers to the two facilities as, quote, underperforming assets. While Expo Center visitation has increased since 2020, it remains below pandemic levels according to the data compiled by the Hunden Partners. Meanwhile, the facility hosted an average of 11 Visit Springfield Source events per year between 2019 and 2024, excluding the year 2020. The Expo Center did not provide its own data for the study. Despite the poor performance of the Expo Center, the Hunden Partners report suggests that it is not an indicative of future success, as the facility is only an exhibit hall, not a proper convention center, and is considered outdated. As proposed, the Convention and Events Center is projected by the Hunden Partners to generate $1.347 billion in new spending over the next 30 years, as well as $63.3 million in state tax revenue and $68.7 million in local tax revenue. The center is also projected to host as many as 164 events and 251 event days a year within 4 years of opening, drawing 179,546 attendees while adding 80,000 hotel rooms and nights. In addition to supporting the jobs through the construction of a potential project, the study estimates a new event center could create more than 200 full-time equivalent jobs. Independent feasibility work estimates around $1.1 billion in economic activity over the next 20 years, as many as 800 new jobs over 10 years, and that is according to the city.
Questions and answers from the Master Gardener shares tips for growing surprise lilies and tomatoes. Question: is it okay to transplant surprise lily bulbs now while the leaves are still up and green? Answer: surprise lily bulbs can be moved early in the spring when the leaves are up, but it is not the ideal time for transplanting the bulbs. If you absolutely must move these now, the bulbs will be fine, but you will probably be interrupting the bloom cycle and probably will not have blossoms this fall. Once established, the bloom cycle will resume next year. The best time to move surprise lilies is late in the summer to early fall after the flowers have faded. Question: are rice hulls okay to use for mulch in my flower beds? Yes. Rice hulls are good as mulch. Also to improve soil aeration, drainage, and moisture retention, and are very good to surpass weeds. Question: do tomatoes plants do well as in containers as they would in the ground? Answer: the answer is yes. No, it is and it depends. In my experience, the tomatoes in general do better in the ground, but in many cases can also do well in containers when the conditions are right. First of all, the container should be very large and at least 16-inch pot, and up to 15 gallons is best. Use the largest container you can find and have room for in your space. Give the tomato plant plenty of room without crowding. The soil used is also important and should be lightweight, rich in nutrients, and draining well. The type of tomato grown is also important. Compact types such as patio tomatoes do well, as do certain dwarf varieties. Cherry tomatoes also adapt well in growing in containers. In general, determine which tomatoes are better suited to container growing than are intermediate varieties. Other larger types, most intermediate varieties of tomatoes can also be grown in containers, but may produce less fruit than if grown in the ground. Tomatoes grown in containers will also require somewhat more care than those growing in the ground. Container tomatoes also should be watered at least daily, sometimes twice daily during hotter weather, keeping the soil moist but not wet, and never allowing it to dry out completely. Most of the variety is suitable for containers, except for the smallest dwarf varieties will require some form of support, whether by staking, caging, or some other form of trusseling. Question: should I remove the old mulch from my beds before adding new? Answer: I am assuming what you mean wood mulch or some other organic material used for mulch. Old mulch should be kept and not removed, allowing it to decompose in place, as the old compost is feeding your soil and making new soil in the process. New mulch should be added over the top to continue the renewal process and keep enriching your soil. What are some good ground covers to be grown under these? The best ones are low growing and have shallow root system, such as Pacra, hostas, astrolbes, ajunga, and wild violets. Wild violets are an especially nice native that is host to several species of frutility and butterflies. And butterflies.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items are available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors aged 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. The Springfield community comes together for fundraiser to support Christian County Sheriff's deputies. Hundreds of cars and motorcycles filled the lot outside the Ozark Mountain Sports Complex on Sunday, March 29th for Roll Call of the Fallen, a massive fundraiser for the families of 2 Christian County Sheriff's deputies who were killed and 2 deputies who were injured in February in the line of duty. The weather was sunny and windy. Volunteers sold t-shirts and beverages while live rock music from the Loose Cannons kept the atmosphere upbeat. It has been just over a month since crime and trauma scene cleaner Shad Friend of Rogersville cleaned the vehicle of fallen Christian County Deputy Michael Hilslop. I like helping people. A lot of times when people call me, it's the worst day of their lives, Friend said. He received this call from the Christian County Coroner, a personal friend. Inside the cabin of the vehicle, he said, he could sense the fear and tragedy that had unfolded. Friend described it as one of the more traumatic scenes that he has ever cleaned. For the first time since he began cleaning crime scenes in 2017, Friend had the opportunity to be part of a fundraiser for the family who is grieving. It's a good thing that the community did this for the families, he said. Christian County and Springfield area businesses donated 5,000 pounds of meat and $35,000 of frozen custard and soda, according to previous reporting from the Daily Citizen. O'Reilly Auto Parts sponsored the event, while the CCCC Saratoga Club facilitated alcohol sales. Roll Call of the Fallen was one of the largest fundraisers that has ever taken place in Christian County. One of the event's organizers, Cafe B29 owner Chaz Copen, previously told the Daily Citizen that supporting the injured deputies and their families was a big part of hosting the fundraiser. Law enforcement officers who are injured often end up going on disability, Copen said, and then all of a sudden, what was a career and something that they would be doing to retire, they don't have that anymore. This story is accompanied by a picture of Christian County Deputy Joshua Wall after giving the speech at the fundraiser, and he was alongside Mayor Don Currence and his girlfriend. He was injured in the event. Christian County Deputy Joshua Wall and Webster County Deputy Austin McCall both suffered gunshot wounds during the February 23rd manhunt that ended in a shootout with the suspect, according to authorities. Wall and McCall were both present for roll call of the fallen in a private VIP area with their families and made brief speeches to the crowd. The event has hundreds of people gathering for a great cause, McCall said. This is an example that there is still good left in our world and gives me hope for my two daughters. He thanked Copen and Vineyard Market owner Heather Davis for coordinating the event. McCall also addressed the community and residents of Webster County. God continues to answer prayers and heal me. I'm still recovering, slowly but surely. I miss you, I love you, and I will without a doubt be back to serve you, he said. The Christian County Deputy Sheriff's Association, a nonprofit, will be responsible with dispersing the funds between the families of Hyslop, Wall, McCall, and Gabriel Ramirez, who was killed in a traffic stop that sparked the manhunt. Attendees raised thousands of dollars in a live auction, with Christian County Sheriff Brad Cole auctioneering items included a once-used Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel, which fetched $3,000, a rifle from Legends of the Old West line for $7,500, and a Missouri State football helmet signed by new head coach Casey Woods for $1,100. The auction's statement piece was a 1995 American General Humvee, which fetched $14,000. It was donated by Jerry Fox, a veteran and friend of Hyslop. Cole read a written statement from Fox before auctioning the vehicle. Fox stated that Hyslop, a fellow veteran, personified one of the 7 Army values, selfless service. I knew Mike was a stand-up guy who would always make the tough decision over the easy one. I knew Mike would always be the first man to rush in at the first sign of danger and would make sure his co-workers were safe, Fox wrote in his statement.
No King's protest draws large crowds. See all the unique signs. No King's protest swept the nation on March 28th, with millions of people demonstrating their objections to President Donald Trump and his administration. The over 3,000 protests include colorful costumes, pointed chants, and a myriad of signs addressing topics ranging from the Epstein files immigration and customs enforcement and calls for Trump's impeachment. The flagship rally in St. Paul, Minnesota, included notable names such as the state's governor, Tim Walz, Senator Bernie Sanders, actress Jane Fonda, Rep. Ian Omar, and a performance of the streets of Minneapolis from Grammy-winning singer-songwriter Bruce Springsteen. The protests were the major demonstration since the beginning of the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. The war was not a central theme of the protests, which drew criticism from left-leaning commentators on social media. Organizers state that 8 million people participated in the third iteration of the protest. Through that number has yet to be independently verified. Signs at the protest ranged from humorous to direct. One colorful sign read, "No Kings, Yas Queens," as a demonstration in Nashville, Tennessee, while others in Reno, Nevada said, "He's gone too far."
Cox Health to launch new family medicine residency program. Cox Health's graduate medical efforts are expanding with the announcement of a new family medicine residency program in Branson, Missouri. The new program, which will be based at Cox Medical Center, Branson, and begin this summer, is the second such initiative for the Springfield-based health system, according to a news release. Cox Health's first family medicine residency program was established in Springfield in 1987, according to its website. Officials say purposes behind the program include expansion of training opportunities for future physicians and advancement of the long-term goal to increase the number of primary care providers serving communities across the Ozarks. The new residency program in Branson demonstrates Cox Health's lasting commitment to expanding access to exceptional primary care, said Dr. Andy Selby, who will lead the inaugural program. Investing in rural physician training helps maintain stable, trusted care for the communities we serve. Selby is a Mayo Clinic trained family medicine physician who also practices primary care for Cox Health in Branson, according to the release. The inaugural class of family medicine residents matched with Cox Medical Center Branson will begin their training in July. They are Blake Bassett, Oklahoma State University Center for Health Sciences College of Osteopathic Medicine, Tulsa, Oklahoma; Madeline Martinez, New York Institute of Technology College of Osteopathic Medicine, Jonesboro, Arkansas; Cassandra Sturdy, Oklahoma State University Center for Health Science College of Osteopathic Medicine, Tahlequah, Oklahoma; Clayton Tyndall, Kansas City University of College of Osteopathic Medicine, Joplin. We are excited to welcome this outstanding group of future family physicians to the Ozarks, Selby said, noting physicians who train locally are far more likely to remain in the community. Their commitment to primary care and enthusiasm for rural medicine align perfectly with our program's mission and the needs of our patients. As of this month, Cox Health's Springfield Family Medicine Residency Program has graduated 264 family physicians since its launch.
The hibachi experience moves from food truck to storefront near downtown. The hibachi experience is taking a leap and moving from four wheels to a storefront near downtown. The company opened a catering in 2023 and began operating out of a food truck a year later, cultivating a devout fan base. The hibachi experience, located at 533 South Kimbrough Avenue, plans to host a soft opening for to-go orders and delivery services only. On April 1st, co-owner George Chan said the restaurant is tentatively planning to host a grand opening toward the end of April. Hibachi is a traditional Japanese cooking style that uses a high-heat, open-grate charcoal grill to cook meat, seafood, and vegetables. The hibachi experience will serve the goods that have been a hit with Springfield fans, including chicken, steak, and pork, along with fried rice, veggies, and noodles. The restaurant has a variety of homemade sauces as well. Moving to a storefront will give the hibachi experience room to entertain customers and level up the dining experience, Chan said. The move is an investment in the company the owners aim to grow. The food truck will still operate, but it will mostly serve the neighboring communities. Springfield fans now have a home base to get their fix. The brick and mortar store will give Chan and his business partner, Ricardo Ricky Ubalto, the first experience in running a bar. A special drink menu is in the works, but expect traditional Japanese liquor like sake to be highlighted. The hibachi experience is in the permitting process for a liquor license. We are still waiting on our liquor license for the bar side, and once we get that and we get our new menu items in place, we're gonna end up doing a big grand opening, Chan said at the restaurant on March 27th. The hibachi experience employs about 5 people besides the owners. The company plans to hire more to run the expanded space after figuring out exactly how much personnel they need. The hibachi experience will let everybody kind of just taste a little bit of what Japanese food is, and then what Japanese liquor is or alcohol is, and have good things that blend together, Ubaldo said. The restaurant owners signed a 3-year lease on the spot in June of 2025. Ubaldo says the renovations on the building, including building out a bar and updating the kitchen, have taken some time and effort. The owners declined to disclose the total financial investment for the brick and mortar store. The nearly 2,100 square foot property was owned by Nerder Pro Manage LLC and was purchased in 2021, according to Greene County Assessor's Office of Records. The property was appraised at $299,000. Our Pro Manager is registered to Nahal Kamel of Battlefield, according to Missouri Secretary of State Records. Ryan Collins is the Business and Economic Development reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen. Collins graduated Glendale High School in 2011 before studying journalism and economics at the University of Missouri in Columbia. He previously worked for Bloomberg News.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen and Steve Pokin. Poking around. Rapid Roberts has apparently removed its torch gaming machines. Law enforcement, led by Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, on March 18th talked tough about cracking down on gaming machines known as video lottery terminals. And days later, convenience store chain Rapid Roberts apparently removed its torch machines from Springfield stores. Hanaway came to Springfield and announced the state had filed 2 felony counts of first-degree promoting gambling against a Greene County convenience store for allegedly housing 12 slot machine-style games made by Torch. Hanaway was flanked by Paul Williams, Springfield Police Chief, Dan Patterson, the Greene County Prosecuting Attorney, and Colonel Michael Turner, Superintendent of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. colleague Ryan Collins covered the press conference. Finally, I thought, law enforcement had pulled off the gloves on an issue that has dragged on for several years, not only in Springfield, but all across Missouri. Williams said at the press conference that businesses had thumbed their nose at the city ordinance passed in February 2024 that made it clear the city considered the machines illegal gambling devices. Our city council enacted a local ordinance 2 years ago prohibiting those machines within the city of Springfield, Williams said at the press conference. Since that time, we've written almost 450 citations, which you would think would cause people to comply with the law. That actually has not happened, he said. The convenience stores, gas stations, bars, restaurants, the places that have had these machines have continued to basically thumb their noses at our local ordinance, and it's been very frustrating for us and for our citizens. A main player in all of this, Rapid Roberts Inc., is based in Springfield. The company's convenience stores have continued to have torch machines in them. Various other businesses have done the same. Rapid Roberts even sued the city of Springfield last year for not renewing its business license due to the presence of the machines in its store. That case is still making its way through the court system. I wondered what impact Hanaway's stern words and the felony charges had on local businesses. I decided to visit a couple of Rapid Roberts stores in the city, fully expecting to see players still joyfully feeding money into the machines and to write a column about the continued nose thumbing. But that's not what I found at the first 2 stores I visited. In fact, the machines were gone. There was an empty space along the walls where they once were. I learned the machines had been removed, quote, in the last week. In response to that surprise, I called Torch. I asked if they had decided to remove the machines from the Rapid Roberts stores in Springfield. No, said Chuck Hatfield, Torch's attorney. He's based in Jefferson City. It wasn't Torch's decision. Next, I called Rapid Roberts here in Springfield. I called and was directed to Steve Makowski, who did not respond to phone messages I left at 2 different numbers. Makowski certainly could have sped up my reporting process, but since he didn't, I visited 8 more Rapid Roberts locations throughout the city. I saw the same empty space along the walls and learned the machines had been removed, quote, in the last week. It was 10 out of 10. The machines were gone. It appears the March 18th press conference here in Springfield with Hanaway front and center had the desired impact, at least on Rapid Roberts. Nevertheless, twice in the last week, I visited the Discount Express gas station at 3540 West Division and West Bypass. The store's 16 torch machines were still in place. With so many machines, it's a narrow passage to the bathroom. That's where I met Marissa, who unfortunately would not give me her last name. She was playing one of the machines. I asked her about the controversy over the legality of the machines. I'm an adult, she said, and if I want to blow my money on a stupid game, that's my business. One of the difficulties in reporting on torch in Springfield, or torch in Missouri for that matter, has been that things constantly seem to be changing. It seems that unless there's a press conference, every news story you want to write requires an in-depth investigation. I will offer a brief history of torch and Springfield through a filter of a columnist free to express my opinion. The torch machines were in Springfield years before the city ordinance was crafted 2 years ago. In fact, I remember talking to Prosecutor Patterson about their legality years ago when I was at the Springfield News-Leader. The hope back then was that the state would address the issue. It didn't. In large part, that's because Torch hired the state's most influential lobbyist, Steve Tilley, a former Missouri House Speaker, according to an October 7, 2025 story in the Missouri Independent. Torch has used high-profile lobbyists, large political donations, contacts with prosecutors, and lawsuits against enforcement agencies to protect its market. In 2023, then Attorney General Andrew Bailey pulled out of defending the Missouri State Highway Patrol in a lawsuit filed by Torch after accepting $14,000 in contributions for his campaign and another $12,000 for his PAC from committees funded by Torch. So far this year, in the year 2025, the company has contributed just under $600,000 to 7 political action committees controlled by its chief lobbyist, former Missouri House Speaker Steve Tilley. In 2024, one of the company's few donations outside the PACs controlled by Tilley was $250,000 to American Dream PAC, which backed Governor Mike Kehoe. In other words, Torch hired the top lobbyist as well as the state's best lawyers to defend what is, in my opinion, the implausible notion that the machines aren't gambling devices. The machine tells you whether you are going to win or lose on the very next play. So you already know before you put your money in. Torch wants you to believe that's not gambling. Instead, in my view, you are simply gambling on what the next play will be. You know in advance by one play if you are going to win or lose. For years in Springfield and Missouri, the Torch machines were not gambling devices. They were treated as something different than slot machines in casinos where the state collects a piece of the action, which helps generate tax revenues, including funds for Missouri schools. The Missouri Lottery also generates tax revenue and funds for Missouri schools. Torch machines do not. To proceed, go to Torch and to the business where the machines are located. To the businesses, it's a windfall. All the proceeds go to them. The heat got turned up in Springfield when gambling rooms opened in the city, including one called Big Win Arcade Games at 1928 South Glenstone Avenue in the Plaza Shopping Center. These machines were not made by Torch, and these locations, unlike the Torch machines in gas stations, other businesses and state VFW posts drew the attention of federal prosecutors concerned about organized crime. In July 2025, 9 men were charged in a 72-count indictment that were accused of being behind an illegal gambling operation with 6 locations throughout southwest Missouri worth over $9.5 million. The defendants allegedly ran an illegal gambling business under the guise of internet amusement arcades, skill games arcades, and adult arcades, according to the U.S. Department of Justice press release. Many of the defendants had ties to the country of India, and were residing in Washington, Georgia, New York, and Colorado. The presence of these gaming shops, in part, prompted the city to take action against the non-Torch machines, as well as the Torch machines that had been operational for years. Torch sued the city twice. Since the city ordinance was passed in February 2024, Springfield police have been writing citations to businesses that have the torch machines operating on their premises. Often, it's an employee at the business who actually gets the ticket. From there, the citation goes to the municipal court where, by everything I can tell, nothing happens. Some 470 citations have been written in the past 2 years. 465 of those remain active, according to Crystal Higdon with the city. I asked city spokesperson Cora Scott why things seem to stall in municipal court. The cases are working their way through the system, Scott said. There have been no trials yet. In search of more detailed answers, I asked Springfield attorney Joe Passanisi what's going on with these 465 pending citations. Torch hired Passanisi to represent individuals ticketed in Springfield for allegedly violating the video lottery terminal law. Passanisi did not call me back. All of this makes me wonder how much the dispute with Torch, which seems to have unlimited resources, has cost the city. In June 2024, 4 months after the city passed its ordinance making torch machines illegal, the city was in contact with Lubert Law, a firm specializing in municipal law. The firm has offices in Springfield, Lee Summit, and Jefferson City. The city hired the firm in August of 2024. I obtained a copy of the contract. By June 2025, the city had paid them $77,452. I asked Scott, city spokeswoman, if Lober was hired to do work focused on video lottery terminals and/or Torch. Yes, she says, that is correct. My guess is that the city and the cost the city this has cost the city considerably more than the Lubert contract. Again, this report was written by Steve Pokin. Steve Pokin writes the Pokin Around the Answer Man columns for the Springfield Daily Citizen. He also writes about criminal justice issues.
Springfield bicyclist dies after crash with a semi on Kansas Expressway. This is March 28th of 26. Police say a bicyclist has died after crashing with a semi-truck on Wednesday morning of March 25th on Kansas Expressway just north of Kearney Street. Stanley Maxwell Jr., 44, of Springfield, died at the hospital Thursday from injuries sustained in the crash, according to a news release from the Springfield Police Department. Police say Maxwell was riding on his bicycle west on Boulevard Road and turned into the northbound lanes of Kansas Expressway just before 9 a.m. Wednesday when he struck the rear of the northbound trailer unit being pulled by 97 Kenworth semi, driven by a 38-year-old James Reiner of Maysville. The circumstances of the crash are part of an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS 8477 or online at p3tips.com. This was Springfield's fifth traffic fatality in 2026.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri pilots new test model for students in place of old MAP exam. Missouri education officials are piloting a new model for the state's decades-old standardized test, shifting the Missouri assessment program from a single end-of-year exam to a through-year assessment with multiple checkpoints. The change is designed to give a clearer picture of student growth during the school year and deliver results within 24 to 48 hours a sharp break from the current system, which releases scores months later. State officials say the new model could help address one of the most persistent complaints about the Missouri assessment program. By the time teachers see the results, the students who took the test are often already have moved on. That concern is taking an added urgency as Missouri lawmakers weigh new measures to hold schools accountable. We are using a flawed test to put greater emphasis on something because we want accountability, Senator Mike Henderson, a Republican and former educator, said Tuesday, March 21st, during a Senate Education Committee hearing. The committee was debating a House bill that would create A through F grade cards for public schools following an executive order from Governor Mike Kehoe that directs the state's education department to draw up such a plan. The bill proposes a scoring system where 75% of points come from standardized test scores, raising questions about whether the Missouri assessment program in its current form can accurately measure school effectiveness. If the intention of the bill is to make us be a better education system, I do not think it can do that with MAP testing, Henderson said. If we get to a benchmark test, I see where this would bring us along and actually bring some real progress. Complaints about the Missouri assessment program are nuanced, with education groups at odds about how to best use the data. But there is wider consensus that the way the test is administered could use improvement, specifically when it comes to timing. Educators describe the MAP as an autopsy because it gives a measure of student performance based on one point in time and after the students have advanced to the next grade. Henderson repeated this comparison March 24th. When you get the results, he said, those kids have already moved on to the next grade, so they're not even there in your school sometimes. Sammy Moore, a 5th grade teacher at Highland Park Elementary in Lee's Summit, told The Independent that MAP results come too late to be actionable. When scores hit her desk, the students have already moved on to middle school. So when the school's principal asked Moore if she would try out a new standardized testing model, she signed up for the small-scale pilot that concluded last week. Around 200 students participated across 14 English language art classrooms and 7 math classes. Moore had 21 students volunteer to take the math assessment during their study hall time. A variety of students signed up, she said, and some were even excited to pioneer the new test. Hands down, all of them agreed that this is so much better than the MAP and a lot less stressful, she told The Independent. They felt more capable. For 2 years, the Department of Education, Elementary and Secondary Education has been working through federal programs to transform its standardized test to meet the call for quick, actionable results. The proposal, dubbed the, quote, Success-Ready Student Assessment, end quote, is intended to address this need while keeping MAP's content and rigor, department officials told the State Board of Education during its regular meeting on Tuesday. This is still assessing the same thing, said Education Commissioner Carla Esslinger. It is just a different way to assess it. The Success-Ready Student Assessment will maintain the Missouri Learning Standard, which set grade level expectations to prepare students for college or a career by graduation and fulfill state and federal requirements for statewide summative test. A $1 million federal grant kickstarted the creation of the new assessment, funding the department's planning process as it applied for a federal waiver to conduct the pilot. Officials received the authorization at the end of July. While the map is administered as a single summative assessment, the new testing model breaks the content into modules and combines results into a summative report at the end of the year. April Giugiardi, the Department Missouri Assessment Program Manager, said during the state board meeting that teachers will have flexibility to choose when to administer the modules based on a student's needs. Whereas the existing system is a static, fixed form system, she said. This change means teachers have the opportunity to assess when students are ready to demonstrate mastery. Moore received student scores within a day of the test, allowing her to address student struggles before moving on to the next unit. I can truly impact the kids that I have now with their data, just knowing how to tweak my instruction for the next class, she said. The department plans to expand the pilot to 3,000 fourth grade students and 3,000 students in grade 5 next year. By the 2028-2029 school year, all Missouri students grade 3 through 8 will be switched over to the new model. To some of us, this does feel very quick, said Lisa Cenero, the Education Department's Assistant Commissioner for Quality Schools. To others, it might be, oh my gosh, look how long it will be before we get to the finish line.
New downtown mural unveiled after Robert E. Smith tribute cover-up. Building owner David Purrier unveiled the patriotic-themed mural featuring a bald eagle at the event center on Saturday. And it shows a very beautiful picture of a eagle flying through the mountains, and very pretty. And a small crowd gathered downtown Saturday morning, March 28th, as the new mural was unveiled at the corner of Walnut Street and Campbell Avenue that was replaced the Robert E. Smith tribute mural that was painted over in February. Building owner David Purrier unveiled the patriotic-themed mural featuring a bald eagle. The new mural is representation of his veteran-based company, From Military to Millionaire, that will move at the end of the month into the downtown building that previously housed Luma Candle Bar. Pierre said he was pleased with how the mural turned out, while acknowledging the controversy that surrounded the Robert E. Smith tribute mural being painted over. When you paint over something like that, people care about, you got to do something good, Pierre said. Of course, I didn't know how much people cared about it at that time, and I think we crushed it. I think we nailed it. And the city is getting both, so it's like a win-win. Pierre's decision to paint over the 26-year-old mural, inspired by Smith, a well-known local artist, caused a stir among the Springfield arts community. Pierre acknowledged that he was unaware of the cultural significance in the Smith tribute mural and has donated $5,000 to fundraising efforts to have the mural recreated on a different downtown business. A GoFundMe titled Recreate Downtown Springfield's Robert E. Smith's mural has already surpassed its $15,000 goal, raising more than $17,000 in the first 3 weeks since it went live. Work continues on getting the mural replaced. The new patriotic-themed mural is the work of Austin Spavelda, who spent over 100 hours on green and orange bald eagles spanning the entire eastern facade of the downtown building. The artwork took Spavelda about a week to complete, and the muralist used more than 130 cans of specialized spray paint. Yeah, that's a lot of paint, Spavelda said with a laugh. Spavelda said the controversy surrounding the old mural being covered up gave extra weight to his work. He said the new mural has been like a redemption. Usually I just go places and paint things, and everyone's really happy about the whole time, Spavalda said. And this has been like a redemption story in a way. That has been the coolest story I have behind a mural. Pierre said that he plans to protect the new mural for years to come. There's a protective clear coat on the building. Owner is already planning to hire the artist for future touch-ups. The new mural will cement the business that will soon be housed in the building in the downtown and Springfield community, Pierre said. This is meant just to be a beacon, Pierre said. A home for our community to come to learn to whatever. We love it here down here. I love downtown Springfield. And Ryan Collins, the business and economic development reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen.
There are several activities for the next upcoming week through the Springfield Greene County Library System. On Monday, March the 30th from 6 to 8 p.m., you can learn homesteading basics, rain catchers, discover practical skills for living sustainably and making the most of your home, gardens, and local resources. Also, on Monday, March 30th from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Library Center, the activity Read It Like It's Hot. This discusses the trendy book Popular Reads and connect with fellow readers. The book will be Slayers of Old. A digital spring cleaning that will be held Tuesday, March 31st from 10 to noon at the Midtown Carnegie Branch Library in the Computer Training Center. Tired of annoying reminders to upgrade your storage? Bring your devices and enjoy time dedicated to clearing excess photos and files from your phone, tablet, or laptop with this computer training staff. Voice Your Writing. That will be Wednesday, April the 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Schweitzer Brentwood Branch Library in the community room. Share a sample of your writing in a casual setting with like-minded individuals. A brief history of visual art to build environment. This will be held Wednesday, April 1st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the Annie Bush Community Room at the Library Center. Discover the evolution of art and creativity across the ages. On Thursday, April 2nd from 2 to 4, Meet the Computer. That will be held at the Midtown Carnegie Branch Library in the Computer Training Center. Invest in yourself with free computer skills classes at the library. On Thursday, April 2nd from 6:30 to 7:30, there is an evening book discussion called The Rose Code. Chat about our monthly title with other library lovers as we talk about this book in our community. Local History Roundtable will be held on April the 3rd from 4:30 to 5:30 in the Ashgrove Branch Library in the Community Room 25. Join fellow history lovers in a roundtable discussion of Ashgrove's history and the Nathan and Olivia Boone homestead. On Friday, it's the first Friday of the month, and that means First Friday Art Walk. That will be held from 6:30 to 9 p.m. in the Park Central Branch Library. Join us for First Friday Art Walk and the opening of a new exhibit. Craft and Tell will be held on Saturday, April the 4th from 10:30 to 11:30 at the Schweitzer Brentwood Branch Library in the community room. Want to stop doom scrolling and get out of the house? Bring a craft to work on while chatting with fellow crafters. Whether starting a project or struggling to finish one, this group will be there for you. The Life and Times of Wild Bill Hickok in Springfield. That will be held Saturday, April the 4th from 1:30 to 3:30 in the Annie Bush Community Room. Explore the life of Wild West icon Wild Bill Hickok with insights from the award-winning historian Craig Crease. Vintage recipes, authors talk, and a recipe swap. That will be held on Saturday, April the 4th from 2 to 3:30 at Schweitzer Brentwood Branch Library in the community room. Join Caitlin McConnell of Ozarks Alive to hear about her cookbook and share your own favorite family recipes.
Investing in Springfield's success will grow future revenue. In my role as the executive director of Downtown Springfield Association, I think every day about what helps the city thrive. That conversation often begins downtown, but it doesn't end there. When downtown succeeds, the benefits do not stop at Park Central Square. They reach neighborhoods and businesses, districts across Springfield. That is one reason why I support Yes on One. My support on question 1 doesn't just fit within my scopes as the executive director of DSA. I have been in support of this since the discussion began, having served in the Missouri General Assembly. I have seen how cities compete for opportunity. I have seen how communities like Springfield can lose out when we are not positioned to compete. And this investment helps ensure we are. The proposal would help build a modern convention and event center that is projected to host events around the year-round and draw thousands of visitors to Springfield, attract more conferences and state-of-the-art facilities for sports tournaments and other year-round activities. When visitors come to town, they stay in hotels, eat at restaurants, and shop in local stores across the city. The economic activity supports small businesses, workers, and neighborhoods well beyond downtown. For me, it is much more than just that. This is an investment in our people. This project needs permanent jobs and generates strong, well-paying work and in skilled trades that support local workers and families here in Springfield. When I look toward downtown, this project directs people to our amazing dining, arts, and small businesses that they rely on foot traffic to survive. I understand the concerns that people are those who prefer these dollars be spent on other priorities, better streets, stormwater, infrastructure, and stronger support systems to help our unhoused neighbors connect to real resources and break cycles of poverty. But we are not choosing between those needs and this project. The proposal is a vote to increase the current motel tax on guests to fund tourism, promotion, and public infrastructure. The city services. This type of investment helps to grow our economy and help generate the revenue needed to fund those services over time. If we want to do more as a city, we have to grow the resources that make it possible. We need to create more revenue. Doing nothing guarantees we fall further behind cities that are actively investing in their future. It is also worth mentioning that this is a time-limited investment with tax set to expire after 35 years. Voting yes on one about more local and well-paying jobs, more revenue that we can invest in truly needed services, and a stronger Springfield for everyone.
Answer Man from the Springfield Daily Citizen. This report has been updated a few times, so if you've been following the saga, here are more answers for you. The question is, I frequently drive over the diverging diamond on South National Avenue near Cox Health Medical Center. That intersection is a nightmare at night in the rain because you can't see the lines on the pavement. As they say, if we can put a man on the moon, then why can't we make reflective road paint that is visible at night in the rain? That question came from Vicki Hicks of Springfield. My effort to answer your question, Vicki, led me to David Mitchell, a spokesman for the Missouri Department of Transportation here in Springfield. David uses the term retroreflectivity. That's right off the bat. I'll need to explain. Retroreflective materials reflect light back at the source. Retroreflective materials have tiny glass beads or prisms that redirect the light straight back to its source, such as headlights of a vehicle. Such material commonly is used in traffic signs and safety clothing for workers who operate at night or in low light settings. It is highly reflective for enhancing visibility. These glass beads must be embedded in the marking material, which is the paint used in the highway. The glass beads cannot be covered by the paint. So far, so good? But now, let's say it rains. Here's the problem according to Mitchell. 1, water covers the painted stripe. 2, water changes how light is refracted by the glass beads. 3, instead of light reflecting back to the driver, a higher percentage of the light is bent and scattered in other directions. 4, the result is a noticeable drop in retroreflectivity. Is there a solution? Yes, Mitchell says. Make the small glass beads a little bigger. The bigger the bead, the less likely it is to be submerged in water. MoDOT has switched to using larger beads to help with this issue, Mitchell tells me. The bad news, Vicki, is that MoDOT made the switch in 2015. So I'm guessing that these bigger beads already are in use, and the frustration you have about not seeing the road markings at night, in the rain, on the diverging diamond will continue. Yes, the bigger beads are in use, says Cindy Dunaway, Assistant Director Engineer with MoDOT. In the winter, she tells me many of the beads are damaged or loosened when snow plows clear the streets, including the diverging diamonds. That means there is less visibility, but the beads are replaced in the spring with restriping. What that means is that visibility is cyclical. It declines in the winter due to the plowing of snow, which scrapes off some of the beads. It increases in spring when the roadways are restriped and rebanded. That was from Steve Pokin, the Answer Man.
NICSA's swing dispensaries targeted by Attorney General in statewide hemp crackdown. The Attorney General's orders center around the controversy of intoxicating hemp-derived products and whether companies have the right to sell the products at gas stations, convenience stores, and storefronts across Missouri. Swin Dispensaries in Nixa was one of the 33 businesses across Missouri that were sent cease and desist letters from the Missouri Attorney General's office. The press release announcing the 33 orders Missouri Attorney General's Catherine Hanaway's demands. The businesses stop selling adulterated, deceptive products, often marketed as marijuana. Of the 33 businesses sent cease and desist letters, 2 companies were from the Springfield region, Swin and Nixa and Puffer's Choice in Clever, according to the AG press release. The other 31 businesses were in St. Louis and Kansas City regions. The Attorney General's orders center around the controversy intoxicating hemp-derived products and whether companies have the right to sell products at gas stations, convenience stores, and storefronts across the state. Due to 2018 federal farm bill, these products are sold as federally legal hemp, and businesses that sell these products are not regulated by the Missouri Division of Cannabis Regulation, DCR. In November 2025, Attorney General Hanaway announced the statewide investigation to retailers of unregulated hemp products. The cease and desist letters are the latest step of the investigation, which continues across the state. The unlicensed dispensaries are peddling dangerous, deceptive, intoxicating cannabis and marijuana products, Hanaway said in the release. The storefront and sales counters do not magically convert an illegal drug operation into a legitimate business. Unregulated hemp-derived products or Missouri-regulated marijuana. 2018 federal farm bill removed hemp from the controlled substance list, and it didn't take long for producers to find a way to mass produce the intoxicating product delivered from hemp, or derived from hemp. The actual definition of hemp gets into the chemical makeup of the products under the law. Any product with a consideration of less than 0.3% delta 9 THC on a dry wet basis is not considered marijuana and therefore can be classified as hemp. Producers started selling flowers, buds, vapes, and more than that had less than that threshold of delta 9 THC. However, there's more than one type of intoxicating THC. Producers would grow hemp that was less than 0.3% delta 9 THC, but that had a high concentration of other forms of THC. When consumed, those products had intoxicating properties like traditional marijuana. The whole industry surrounding hemp-derived products has circumvented Missouri's regulatory framework around the intoxicating products like marijuana. Convenience stores and retail storefronts are able to sell the intoxicating hemp products without any overnight from the DCR, a division of the Missouri's Department of Health and Human Services, as the stores are not Missouri licensed dispensaries. The businesses selling the intoxicating hemp products have not had to pay fees and go through the extended process to be a Missouri licensed cannabis facility in February. A coalition of marijuana companies filed lawsuits against nearly 60 stores selling hemp products for undercutting the sales regulated cannabis market, according to the Missouri's Independent. Schwinn declines to comment. Letter sent to Schwinn, not published by Missouri AG. Schwinn, with the headquarters in Nixa, has 3 other stores in Springfield, Ozarks, and Hollister, according to the website. Schwinn's Nixa location was operating when Daily Citizen's reporter drove by the store on March 26. Schwinn Dispensary's founder and CEO Blake Swindoll declined to comment on the cease and desist letter from the Attorney General's office and how it will impact the company's operation. It would be a pleasure to give you my professional response to these letters from the Attorney General's office, but about the alleging deceptive practices. However, I must decline at the moment while my legal team and I discuss the letter points, Swindoll said on March 26 email. Schwinn Dispensaries is a fictitious name registered with the Missouri Secretary of State, SOS. It is owned by Blake Brian Schwindel of Nixa, according to SOS records. A copy of the exact letter sent to Schwinn by the Attorney General was not made publicly available from the Attorney General's office. The Daily Citizen filed a sunshine request for the letter, but did not receive it by the end of business day on Thursday. 4 prolonged legal approached by Attorney General. The Attorney General's office published a cease and desist letter sent to one of the business in the Kansas City region. Gray area cannabis is a simple letter. The letter provides clarity to the office's approach in the statewide investigation. First, the Attorney General alleges that selling marijuana without a license is a violation of the Missouri Constitution of the Missouri Merchandising Practices Act, MMPA. The letter alleges that the businesses was not testing the product correctly and that the connection of different forms of THC makes it marijuana. Next, the Attorney General said that the labels of hemp-derived products are in the violation of the MMPA because they often include words like cannabis, marijuana, weed, and more, and are deceptive to consumers. The words cannabis, weed, and marijuana are understood by consumers to be interchangeable with synonyms, as Attorney General said in the letter. Customers understand that in the order to sell marijuana in Missouri, a dispensary must first be licensed and follow strict regulations and guidelines to ensure the safe sale of marijuana. Missouri customers, when seeing the words like cannabis, marijuana, and other similar wording, assume the store is using such language is a license to sell such products. Consumers are deceived by thinking they are going to a licensed store when in reality they are not, subjecting them to unregulated, intoxicating hemp products they would not otherwise purchase. Third, the Attorney General said that the business purposely sell the products in the manner that confuses customers. The business alleges that they are not selling marijuana, but a signage and the marketing often uses words like marijuana, cannabis, and weed, and more. Lastly, the Attorney General office alleges that many products tested from the businesses contained foreign and unsafe substances like pesticides and solvents, according to the letter. The Attorney General has directed the business to cease and desist from selling hemp products with more than 0.3% Delta 9 THC on a dry, wet basis, according to the letter. The companies cannot use language such as cannabis, marijuana, weed, kush, or slang that tends to deceive customers that you are a licensed marijuana dispensary in connection with your products or businesses. The businesses cannot sell adulterated products containing foreign and unsafe substances like heavy metals, solvents, and pesticides. The letter from the Attorney General ends on a warning. Your continued unlawful correspondence in the Missouri residents may result in a subsequent legal action under the MMPA and an injunction against you, imposition of civil penalties, and you are being required to pay the Attorney General's cost of investigation and litigation, including attorney's fees.
From the Springfield Business Journal, Ron Hurst announces upcoming retirement from KY3. KY3 Chief Meteorologist Ron Hurst announced his forthcoming summer retirement during a stop in the station's First Alert Weather Tour, March 26th in Republic. After 38 years in the Ozarks at KSPR and KY3, I'm going to go ahead and call it a career at the end of the summer and retire, he said to the crowd, who gave him a standing ovation. In an interview today, Hurst said the audible gasp followed by the standing ovation took him very much by surprise. I felt very honored by that, he said. Hurst told the crowd, it has been an honor and pleasure to serve viewers. I've tried to do my best to make sure everybody is safe during storms and that I bring you the best forecast every day so that you can benefit in your lives and your work and everything that can benefit from an accurate forecast. Hearst told Springfield Business Journal that viewers feel a bond with their meteorologist, and for him, the feeling is mutual. We've spent a lot of late nights together, he said. He added that he sees presenting accurate weather forecasts for viewers as his legacy. I really, truly see myself in public service, he said. I've tried to put my best foot forward for my forecasts, for their safety, for their best interest, and for whatever that is. Asked how he knew it was time for him to retire, Hearst, age 65, said it began 3 years ago when he lost his parents. I think that when your parents pass away, you start to reevaluate life and start seeing what's important, he said. For me, that's stepping back, finding love, and doing those kinds of things. Hearst said he has been dating a woman who lives in West Plains. I think it's time to have somebody in my life, he said. I'm not leaving because I'm tired of doing weather, or I don't like the job, or I don't like KY3. I've made enough money and I've found love, so I'm going to go do other things and be with somebody I love. As for what comes next, Hearst said there are a lot of possibilities. I'm an educated guy and I have lots of energy, he said. I can find other things to do and that aren't going to be as time consuming as staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning babysitting thunderstorms. Forensic meteorology, that is, offering expert testimony about weather in court cases, is an interest of Hearst. He said it has been a lucrative field. He added that he regularly receives requests for this service and has often had to pass them on from time to time because of time constraints, but now those opportunities beckon. He added that he would also like to get out into the community, including schools and organizations, to talk about all things weather. That's something that he has had less time for in the recent years at KY3, he said. Reflecting on his career, Hearst said one of the most memorable weather events accompanied the Table Rock Lake duck boat tragedy in July 2018. I was one of the first to recognize boats down at the water were in direct danger. I gave them quite a bit of warning, he said. Hearst said he was clocking 110-mile-an-hour winds on radar before the accident occurred. That was the largest single loss of life in my entire career, he said. The historic ice storms of 2007 and the Pierce City and Joplin tornadoes in 2003 and 2011, respectively, were also key moments in his career. On the flip side, Hearst said he has met amazing people from David Letterman, Tony Orlando, Jesse Jackson, and Don Wells from Gilligan's Island, not to mention fellow community members in Southwest Missouri. I have had a very blessed life, he said. When he made his public announcement, Hearst said everyone would continue to be well cared for by the rest of the KY3 staff, and he added that he would be filling in from time to time on the air and would continue to live in this community. KY3 is a great place. I've made lots of friends over the years, he said, to the live audience. It's been wonderful living in the Ozarks, and I do call this place my home. I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be in the Ozarks, so you'll see me around, so say hi. Hearst does on-air weather for KY3 at 6 and 10. Hearst earned his bachelor's degree from St. Louis University and began his career at a station in Harrisburg, Illinois, before moving to Springfield, becoming chief meteorologist at KSPR. From there, he worked in Tulsa and St. Louis before returning to the Queen City in 1993, raising to chief meteorologist with the retirement of Tom Dye in 2000. Hearst helped the development of KY3 Safe and Sound Public Safety Program and led the Weather School program with local schools before leading the First Alert Weather Tour starting in 2020, according to the announcement.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every Monday through Friday on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader
PM.
Network information on receiving program radio.